All right, let's get to some quick ways to make some cash. We want to go to Apple here. Evan, really been climbing since last week. It seems like buyers stepped in after Steve Jobs' resignation, trading around that 390 level. Is it ready for some kind of breakout? Can we get back to that 52-week high?
It sure looks like Apple's got some gas left in the tank. Just when you think the stock might come crashing down as the leader of the free world, Steve Jobs resigns.
Right.
The stock shows you its hand and does nothing but rally up. So we're in an area where we could, again, with constructive action, you don't want to be a buyer here. We just rallied from 350 up to 390 in the last couple of days. You don't want to chase. You can buy a pullback. If we can get a pullback into the mid 370s, I think the stock is ripe for a buy.
Would you be taking some positions off right now and take profits, or wait?
I mean, if I was long the stock, I'd probably be, a little edgy here. It's not the place that I'd want to get in. But at the same time, the stock to me is performing much better than the market. And if the market does turn up and go higher, Apple's going to be the place where money flows in.
All right, let's go to Occidental. We don't usually talk about this a lot. We usually talk about the OIHs, but this is a good proxy for oil as well, OXY. Let's see if there's a trade here.
Well, we saw Oxy break down. We had a lot of support here. You can see around the just below 100, the 96, 97. Once we broke that here in early August, it was really just a waterfall type of trade.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of a bounce, retested the low, and yesterday we kind of tipped our hand and broke above this little, area of short-term support. We held these lows at $80. You can see that, the low was held. This to me looks good for a trade, possibly back to this upper area at the, the low 90s, and even maybe back into the, the mid 90s here where our 50-day MA is.
So you could add there.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Let's go to coffee holding ticker JVA, up 22% on Monday. Is there more juice left to the rally?
Market loves coffee. We've seen it with Green Mountain this year and here with JVA. Very constructive pullback. We saw, again, this spike high at $30. Over the last 2 months, we've seen a nice controlled pullback. Yesterday, volume came up big, broke above this downtrend line. I wouldn't chase. I think if you can see, again, a couple of days of constructive sideways action here, you might see another trade up.
All right, let's go to our next one here, Brookdale Senior Living. You brought this to my attention. I had never even heard of this stock. It's BKD. Why would this be a good trade? In a sector that isn't very popular, I would assume, with traders.
Assisted living is probably not the, the sexiest sector out there. But again, there's opportunity here. You can see that in August, look at this waterfall trade from 24 down to 14. Heavy volume. Obviously, the market's telling us something. But I think, just like we saw with Oxy, that low held. We now saw some constructive action yesterday. Volume came up a little bit. If we can see a short-term pullback, maybe to $14, I would look to potentially buy the stock for a trade to $18. Again, nothing more than a short-term trade, but I think the risk-reward at the $14 level does make sense here for a trade.
And we want to run out the quick hits with the stock that we mentioned earlier in the program, Universal Display here, PANL, having that deal with Panasonic today, the patent deal with Panasonic. So is there a trade? It has a huge run, like almost doubled, right?
At this point, the stock from the beginning of August, trading around 22, I think up again this morning on the news, trading probably around 55, 56, up 150% in just a handful of days. Probably not the trade you want to jump into. The news is out. It wouldn't surprise me if we saw that reversion back to the mean.
Would you short it then,
trade.
or you want to?
I probably wouldn't short it, but I'd be very, very careful about being a buyer at these levels. You are at prior highs up here.
Yeah.
And there's obviously some resistance up here. We saw last time the stock was up here, it came all the way back to 25. So the sellers do live in this area, 55, 60. Be very, very careful about this stock up here.